1st, 2018 meeting of the Missoula Consolidated Planning Board to order, and we'll begin with the roll call.
Helen Jenkins. Helen Jenkins is absent. Andy Medford.
Here.
Andy Medford is here. Neva Hassanen.
Here.
Neva Hassanen is here. Michael Houlihan.
Here.
Michael Houlihan is here. Dudley Imprada.
Here.
Dudley Imprada is here. Jason Rice.
Here.
Jason Rice is here. Jamie Hoffman. Jamie Hoffman is absent. Stephanie Potts. Stephanie Potts is absent. Vince Cristo.
Here.
Vince Cristo is here. Peter Benson.
Here.
Peter Benson is here. John Newman.
Here.
John Newman is here. And chair with 6 regular members and 2 alternates present. We do have a quorum, and since a member from the county and a member from the city are absent, would you like to appoint both alternates as regular voting members tonight?
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the August 7th, 2018 meeting. Any changes to those?
Yeah, I'll move to approve them.
Okay, motion from Dudley. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded from Peter. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, seeing none, the minutes are approved. Item number 4 on the agenda, public comment on items not on the agenda. No public, so we can move past that. Staff comments? Anything in particular, Anita?
I don't have any at this time.
Okay. Then we will move on to the public hearing for tonight, which is a rezone for MRP and Parks land swap. It's a city item presented by Anita McNamara. Take it away, Anita.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Anita McNamara. I'm with Development Services. This request that you have before you this evening is from Jeremy Keene with WGM Group on behalf of the Mill Site Revitalization Project. I always want to say revitalization project, and the City of Missoula to rezone property involved in a land swap and a boundary line relocation for mill site property and the City of Missoula property. The pieces of land, AKA the triangle and the sliver, are of equal size, 0.66 of an acre. And I'll kind of show you a graphic later about why we are referring to things as the triangle and the sliver. The requests are to rezone both parcels subject to the boundary line relocation so as not to create split zoned properties. The triangle, which will become part of the mill site property, is being rezoned from M24 and OP3 to M1R2, and the sliver that will become part of the Milwaukee Trail is being rezoned from M24 and OP3 to OP3. And the applicant is requesting this rezone in order to comply with the Title 20 requirement that no split zone properties can be created. And this rezoning will result in a standard zoning district under Title 20, which cannot be conditioned. So on the screen now is an aerial photo, shows the location of the property. The subject site is located along the Milwaukee Trail, and you can see it here in the hatched area where the cursor is, just west of the MRL Railroad right-of-way, adjacent to the mill site in the Riverfront Neighborhood Council area, and is within City Council Ward 3. The applicable regional plan is Our Missoula, the City Growth Policy 2035, which recommends a land use designation of community mixed use in this area, which is intended to facilitate efficient transportation and foster a broad range of high-intensity commercial serving the general community needs and high-density residential. Zoning districts that most closely align with these recommendations are C14, C24, and M1R2. The existing M24 zoning is not consistent with the community mixed land use designation. And this is the zoning map of the area. As you can see here, properties to the north are zoned the Mill Site Special District. Properties to the south are zoned OP3, and immediately adjacent to the east is property zoned M1R-2. The requested zoning districts of M1R-2 for the triangle and OP3 for the sliver are consistent with zoning on abutting properties. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, this property is a subject of a land exchange. So you can kind of see on this exhibit here, and I'll kind of just briefly explain what's happening. This triangle you see here will go to the mill site and be rezoned from M24 and OP3 to M1R2. And the sliver here will go to the city for the Milwaukee Trail and will be rezoned from N24 and OP3 to OP3. As mentioned previously, both of these parcels are about 2/3 of an acre in size. So a little bit more background and kind of explain the boundary line relocation and the necessitation for this rezone. As you can see, I've kind of put a lot of letters or a lot of text on this slide, which is usually one of those no-nos for, but I kind of thought it was all pretty important to mention. So just to kind of recap some of what I've already mentioned, both parcels are 0.66 of an acre. The mill site will receive the triangle, which is currently zoned M24 and OP3. The city will receive the sliver for the Milwaukee Trail, which is currently zoned M24 and OP3 as well. The triangle will be rezoned to M1R2, while the sliver will be rezoned to OP3. The rezoning will reflect the actual uses of these properties. And Title 20 does prohibit the creation of split-zoned parcels. And because the zoning has a 30 days before it becomes effective, after approved by City Council, the amended plat must be filed within this time frame so that it kind of fixes that problem. So just a little bit of background on these two zoning districts these properties will be rezoned to, with the first being the mill site triangle piece. M1R2 is a standard zoning district with standard uses and complies with the growth policy recommendations. And for the sliver, OP3 is also a standard zoning district with standard uses and complies with the growth policy. And both of these rezonings cannot be conditioned. So we do have several review criteria that we must address with each rezoning application. And we need to show that it is in accordance with the growth policy, that it facilitates the provision of motorized and active transportation facilities and other public infrastructure like water and sewer, that it promotes compatible urban growth, that it promotes public health and safety, and that it considers the character of the district and suitability of uses. So the proposed rezone complies with the goals and objectives of the growth policy. As mentioned, the M1R2 zoning district is a relatable district to the community mixed-use land use, while OP3 is intended for land held by public and quasi-public agencies. The rezone is in an area with established and existing infrastructure in terms of transportation, city services, and utilities. The rezoning promotes compatible urban growth by assigning zoning that reflects the actual uses of properties. The rezone accords with the promotion of public health and safety by being in an area with existing public services, including police, fire, emergency services, access to water and sewer, plus proximity to schools, parks, Missoula's trail system, and other public amenities. And the rezoning gives reasonable consideration to the character of the districts and the suitability of uses that are the same or similar to the uses on surrounding parcels. So that brings us, as a result, to our recommendation, which is approval of an ordinance to rezone the mill site property from M24 and OP3 to M1R2 and rezone the city trail property from M24 and OP3 to OP3 as shown in Exhibit A, based on the findings of fact in the staff report, subject to the filing of the amended plat to align with the bearings and distance legal descriptions in Exhibit B within 30 days of approval of the zoning. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions, and Mr. Keene is also here if you have any questions for him.
Okay, thanks, Anita. Mr. Keene, any additional comments or presentation you'd like to make at this time? Okay, and seeing no public, we'll close the public hearing and open it up to questions from board members. Dudley.
Contingent on the rezoning, or is it
Well, the city council has actually already approved the actual land swap, so that was like kind of contingent upon this rezoning happening and then the boundary line kind of falling into place so that everything kind of met the criteria where we weren't creating those split zone parcels. Right, there's Mr. Keene is representing them, and yeah.
Jeremy Keene, WGM Group. So this is some housekeeping related to the land swap that was worked out between City Parks and MRP to take that small triangle of land on the corner of the U Global property and put that into MRP ownership so that the building for U Global can use that property, and it's actually where the trash enclosure is going to go. So it just lets us have a little bit better use of that U Global student housing project parcel. And then the exchange is an equal amount of land, 600 square feet, going back to Parks. Just a little different. Exactly. So that parcel, the parcel that we're rezoning is kind of an odd-shaped parcel that was a leftover, wasn't part of the original Champion Mill site purchase. And International Paper ended up owning that for a number of years, and they were finally able to purchase that piece. And it's kind of an oddball. It's left with an old zoning designation, and it wasn't part of the mill site special zoning. And then because of its shape, it wasn't very usable without some boundary adjustments.
Additional questions?
I just had one. I thought maybe I misunderstood, but I thought I heard you say 2/3 of an acre or something, and isn't it 600 square feet that's?
It is.
Okay.
I had it incorrect in my notes.
All right.
It's just as he said that, I'm like, why did he
Okay.
say?
I didn't follow the 2/3 of an acre. I thought it was 600, so that's fine.
I think that the parcel that we're rezoning may be 2/3 of an acre.
No, I don't.
It looked like one was 0.49 and one was 3.1,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
but I think it was just meant to be 600 then, sounds like. Okay.
Yeah, the legal description does say 600, so that's correct.
Neva?
I was just curious about the triangle site, and you just said why you wanted it light industrial, and that is because you want to put the trash receptacles there? Is that, I didn't quite follow what you said there, Jeremy, sorry.
When we talked with staff about this, we talked about what was the right zoning designation to apply for, and the M1 R2 is the most flexible zoning, and because we have some other M1 R2 property adjacent to it, that made more sense than trying to bring this into the mill site special zoning district, which staff and we agreed we felt would be more complicated to do that.
Any other questions? Okay, anybody interested in making a motion? I can do it too.
Would you put it up there again?
Oh, sure. Pardon.
I'm willing to. I move that we approve the request to rezone the mill site property from M24 and OP3 to M1R2 and rezone the city property from M24 and OP3 to OP3 as shown in Exhibit A based on the findings of fact in the staff report subject to the filing of amended plat to align with the bearings and distance legal descriptions in Exhibit B within 30 days of the approval of the zoning.
Long motion from Neva. Thank you. Do we have a second? Okay, seconded by Peter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, seeing none, the motion passes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. It seems like a great collaboration between the city and the developers.
Yeah, just to make a comment on that, we've really worked a lot with Parks Department collaboratively to find some good solutions like this one around access, fire access, trail access, all those things. So it's good progress there, and it really fits into the big picture of what's happening down there at the Sawmill District.
Okay, thanks again. Appreciate it. Okay, communications and special presentations. We don't have any of those. Do you have any committee reports?
Yeah. It's pretty scintillating. Are you ready? It's Transportation Policy Coordinating Committee. They adopted long-range transportation plan amendment to it, which was just some administrative work. And then they okayed the unified planning work program between MUTD, the city, the county, MDT, and the feds, which goes to 2023. And then they approved Transportation Improvement Program, which goes to 2023.
Any interesting projects in the unified work plan? That sounds really,
The Unified Work Plan it's just an agreement between Missoula Urban Transportation District, the city, the county, Montana Department of Transportation, and the feds. It's just an agreement to work together on certain projects. You know, nothing. You know, there was a report on Russell Street, which might be behind schedule and over budget, but big surprise there. But other than that, that's what that was, just a unified work plan agreement to work together on certain projects, which, you know, the feds put more money in a lot of that stuff than the city does. I mean, way more, 80%. So it's a good deal.
okay. Any other committee reports? I don't think we have any other ones. Old business? No old business, new business, and referrals. Okay, seeing none. Comments from planning board members? Anybody have anything
I
to
have a
say?
question to you guys. You could allay my distrust of everything, but that land swap just there, did they got a usable space for a space that wasn't usable, and perhaps that triangle might have been worth more per square footage than a sliver of land along the trail, or am I?
Well, I mean, I guess I'd say like willing buyer, willing seller, right? Like what is the city probably wants a little more space along the trail right of way, and MRP probably needs a little more space to put a garbage facility back there. And I don't know what the city does with 600 square feet bounded by a rail right of way and
Right.
private property, basically.
The developers are here, so you couldn't do anything with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, maybe it would appraise it more, but I think it's a matter of what could be done there. I don't know, that would be my take on it.
Is that what, Jason, Andy, is that what you think too?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's a bigger plan that's at play here, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
the
don't,
feeling.
yeah, I didn't see any problem with it.
Okay.
I mean, the land swap is a whole different issue than what we're dealing with here. Land swap's already agreed upon, and that's
That's
beyond.
that's why I asked the question if it was contingent on that.
No, that was already agreed upon, and so it just,
Okay.
Any other comments, anybody? Okay, seeing none, we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks.
Me and Nate distrust.
7:18.
Yeah, I hear that.